Warning: the following content contains a lot of spoilers. If you don't want to get spoiled, feel free to click off this video and watch a different video of mine. You're free to come back here after you completed the anime. Viewers' discretion is advised. This has to be one of the most "what did I just watch" anime I have ever watched. But at the same time, without seeing those specific scenes, the anime is still cute and enjoyable to watch. Before I explain, let's get right to the introduction. Chobits is based on a manga series written by Clamp. It lasted over 8 volumes and 88 chapters from 2000 to 2002, while the anime series was released in 2002, lasting over 24 episodes. It was animated by Madhouse, making this the 8th anime I have reviewed animated by Madhouse. Alright, let's get right to the plot. I will be cutting most of the plot short due to how most of it is filler and not important to talk about, so let's start. We start the anime with an 18-year-old prep student named Hideki, and Hideki wants 2 different things: getting into college and getting a persicum. But one day, during the night, while he was out, he found a persicum in the garbage. Since he wanted a persicum to begin with, he picked up the persicum and took it back home with him. Once he returned home, he activated it, making it speak. The persicum only says the word Chi, so Hideki decides to name her Chi. Since he got her, she starts becoming lovable towards him. The funniest thing about this is that he told his neighbor Shimbo he didn't have a persicum since Shimbo has one named Sumomo. This means that whenever Shimbo shows up at Hideki's front door, Hideki would hide Chi from Shimbo to prove he didn't have a persicum since he didn't tell him. However, Hideki fails to hide Chi from his landlady named Hibiya, but she finds Chi cute to her. The next day, Shimbo catches Hideki with Chi, but instead of making fun of Hideki, Shimbo is curious to know where Hideki got his persicum from, so Hideki tells him where he got it. After that, Shimbo connects Sumomo's wires to Chi's connection, which causes Sumomo to malfunction. For this reason, Shimbo recommends that Hideki visit one of his friends named Minoru to learn more info about Chi. So once Hideki takes Chi to Minoru's mansion, he learns some info about Chi. Minoru says that Chi has some type of learning program, despite having no operating system. Minoru also tells Hideki that he is able to teach her, which means she will be able to understand anything he tells her. Once Hideki and Chi leaves, Minoru quickly tells Hideki not to fall in love with her if he doesn't want to cry, and Minoru closes the door on Hideki before he can ask what Minoru meant. The next day, Hideki starts running low on money, so he starts searching for a job. He would end up failing to find one until a girl named Yumi accidentally drew water on Hideki, causing him to go inside the building where she works. From then on, Hideki finally found a job and started working in the same place as Yumi, which is an izakaya for your information. Now some time has passed, and one day, Hideki finds that he's broke and he can't pay his bills. So Chi asks Hideki if she could find a job for him. He said sure, but he warned her not to find anything sketchy. So when Chi goes out, a mysterious man takes her to a place, claiming it's a good job. Turns out it's not a good job. He takes Chi to a peep show. Now I won't get into what that is, or else my video will get flagged, but I will say that when Minoru hears about this, he goes and tips Shimbo off about it. When Shimbo hears about it, he heads to Hideki's job to tell him where Chi is, so Hideki leaves work to go find Chi. Once Hideki arrives at the location, Chi starts glowing, causing her to go into a trance-like state. She would then start jumping from building to building to the point that other persicums disable when they are near her. But once Chi sees Hideki, her trance-like state goes away, which means she's back to normal. So Hideki takes her back home. The next day, Chi ends up getting a real job at a cake shop, so Hideki and Chi are both employed and making money. Fast forward a few months later because remember I said Hideki is a prep school student? One day, while Hideki was chilling at home, his teacher Miss Shimizu showed up at his front door. For some reason, she decided to stay the night at his place where she started drinking a lot. Right after that, Miss Shimizu slept at Hideki's place until the next day. So the next day, Hideki arrived at school to tell Shimbo that Miss Shimizu was at his place, and Shimbo started freaking out. Later on during the night, Hideki found that Miss Shimizu and Shimbo were in a relationship, which explains why Shimbo was freaking out. The next day, Hideki wakes up to see Sumomo, Shimbo's persicum, inside his bag. He also finds a note written by Shimbo to take care of her for a while. Turns out Shimbo and Miss Shimizu are out of town for a while, since he is taking care of her. The reason why is that Miss Shimizu has lost trust in men after her husband stopped paying attention to her and only focused on persicums. It also explains the reason why Miss Shimizu went to Hideki's house and why Shimbo started freaking out is that Miss Shimizu was supposed to meet up with Shimbo, but she ended up chickening out in a panic. But enough with that because this is where the plot gets strange. One day, while Chi was heading to work, she stopped at the bookstore to look at a book, when all of a sudden, a random man grabbed her, which means she kidnapped her. Once Hideki came home from work, he saw Chi hadn't returned yet. He then got a phone call from her boss named Mr. Ueda, telling him that she didn't show up to work. For this reason, they decided to go find Chi. Before they went to go find her, Mr. Ueda told Hideki his backstory that he used to be married to a persicum, but unfortunately for him, his persicum started forgetting about him after they got married, and she eventually died after saving Mr. Ueda from getting run over. After Mr. Ueda finished telling Hideki about his backstory, Yumi was caught eavesdropping, and she ended up running away. Oh yeah, about Chi, both Hideki and Mr. Ueda found her after Hideki and Shimbo got an anonymous email with a map to where she was located. Turns out the person who kidnapped her was some creep who tried to research what she was. So, fuck him. Oh yeah, remember Shimbo was in a relationship with Miss Shimizu? Shimbo ends up moving out with Miss Shimizu since they are both married, so that's a goodbye to both of them. Also, about Shimbo's persicum Sumomo, he gives it to Hideki to keep. Plus, remember Yumi was eavesdropping on Mr. Ueda talking about his relationship with a persicum? Yumi has been in love with Mr. Ueda ever since she used to work for him. So after a while, they started a real relationship together. So, good for them. Since this is the ending, I will try my best to explain since it's difficult to explain. So here it goes. One day, Chi confessed her love to Hideki, and Hideki started loving her back. But suddenly, Chi randomly flew out the window onto the rooftop. This is when Hibiya, Hideki's landlady, reveals to Hideki that she is Chi's mother. She also reveals that Chi had a sister named Freya, who died. Speaking of Freya, after Chi says Hideki is her one and only, Freya takes over Chi's body. Freya then tells Hibiya to shut down her and Chi's data forever. In the end, after a while of Hideki telling Freya/Chi that he loves her, Freya disappears and Chi goes back to normal, which means the anime ends with Hideki and Chi living happily ever after. Okay, now that I removed those certain scenes, the way of me explaining this anime is cute to me. I even find this whole anime cute despite all those filler scenes. Let's move on to the animation. A 2002 anime animated by Madhouse, the animation is already good to me even before watching it. Surprisingly, we don't see a 4:3 CRT screen, but a 16:9 widescreen instead, since anime around this time would be 4:3 CRT, but not this anime. For this reason, the animation is iconic and I love it. Let's move on to the opening and ending themes. The opening is really great and I love it. I mostly love the fact that it's the same artists who performed the opening for Welcome to the NHK. This opening is performed by Roundtable featuring Nino. The first ending is pretty well done, especially the instruments is the best part of it. The second ending is a slow vibe, but I still enjoy listening to it. Both of the endings are performed by Chi's voice actress, Rei Tanaka. Let's move on to the voice acting. The voice acting is great, and it's also pretty funny to listen to. I love how they got the right voice actors to voice this anime, since it fits every character in the anime. You can say this is comedy. Let's move on to the pacing. The pacing is a bit slow, but the more you watch it, the more you will understand what is happening in each scene. So in this case, I won't get upset about the slow pacing since it's reasonable for this anime, which means it's a rare moment when you see me accepting the slow pacing. Time for my final review. Time for my final review on Chobits. I'm placing Chobits on Feel Free to Watch It, behind Shibuya of a Failed Night. Once again, I find this anime cute, and I'm separating those specific scenes by pretending they are not there. Time for my next anime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, it's Delicious in Dungeon. It was so close to Maid-sama, but Delicious in Dungeon is my next anime. And honestly, this was the one anime I actually wanted to watch for a while. And I'm finally watching it. Okay then, time for my outro. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And please follow my socials in the description down below. And since you know what my next anime is going to be, stay tuned for that. Until then, this is Enjeru, signing off.